Don't mind me. I'm eating oatmeal while we do this. I got
You
squeezing.
good, brother. Do your thing. Yeah. Hey, I'm proud of you, man. You're eating oatmeal? What?
I got my
Instead of a cheeseburger?
I got my wolfberry tea.
Nice. Somebody's taking care of you.
No, it's me. No one
That's
cares.
a good thing, man.
I'm trying to.
I remember Dave when we would always talk and you're like, hold on, could I get the number 4 with large fries?
Well, listen, I still go to those spots. That's like crazy.
But
like
dude,
crazy.
always, my man.
I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
You can't tell me a good old Shake Shack cheeseburger ain't the shit. So
man, hey, plug away. But yeah, we need to start getting paid by them if we're gonna plug them. I think it's Chick-fil-A though. God,
I love Chick-fil-A. I love it.
Love Chick-fil-A. They don't have any up here, like in Delaware. It's random, dude. There's like 2, and they're like 40 miles apart.
What?
Yeah.
If
I want to go to a Chick-fil-A, I gotta drive 35 minutes.
The one that's closest to me is probably 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But
bad, man.
The Shake Shack's about 10, which is nice.
Shake Shack.
You know what I like?
Come up with that? Shake Shack. Remember from Yukon, the girl
Sugar Shack.
Yeah.
The Sugar Shack, you know what?
Yep. Yeah, we won't go any further than that. If she's watching, she knows who she is.
She loved it, probably.
She was a good friend of many. Anyway, it's a G-rated show, man. No, it's not. Because we do
not G. What was I going to say? Before we get into the important stuff, do you like Sonic? I'm curious.
Sonic?
Yeah.
I used to be a huge one because we were sponsored by him down in town. Well, I don't know how we got them, but I used to get free burgers. The Sonic burger is good.
I think Sonic's good.
I like Sonic a lot. I do. I think it's really good. Like Niall and I, his wife, God rest her soul.
Yes.
Obviously passed away, giving birth to their son. But she was the head cheerleading coach or dance coach for USF, University of South Florida. And they were sponsored by Sonic at the time. This was like 20 years ago, whatever.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And so we would just get free Sonic. Oh man, they were so good, bro. You get them nice and fresh and free. Come on, man.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Everything tastes better.
Everything tastes better free.
Everything tastes better free. I remember Tim Markham's motto, God rest his soul, too. This is how you know you're getting old, man, when you say
that over and over.
Everybody that he said, don't F up free. If you F up free, you're off the team.
Yes, that's why I said college, dude. Like, I was telling my wife this, and she's like, you would love that. I said, my favorite thing about college is I didn't pay for no food, and I went down to that cafeteria. I could eat as much as I want, and it was free. And then I would go down there again as much as I want, and it was free, and I loved it. And she's like, oh, I'm like, that food was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And most people probably think it's probably average, but I thought it was unbelievable.
It was great. It was great. It was the best thing ever.
It was phenomenal.
Free food? Are you kidding me? Come on, man.
And me and Wilbur Wilbur was our guest at the Husky Huddle podcast, maybe Friday or something. And we were talking about the small dorms and how you could get whatever you want custom.
The breakfast in the small dorms?
Dude, incredible.
After winter workouts, like going there at like 7, 8 o'clock. I used to hate that because you remember before we roomed together and lived together. Mm-hmm. I used to live across the street from you. And
alumni, right?
You guys. No, not alumni. In the small one.
You lived in West? You lived in West?
And
I didn't know that.
Everybody would come over there and they back the line up, and we're all like, "You mother suckers! You only come over here."
I didn't know that you actually lived in West, huh?
Yeah, Gooch and I lived in West with There was only, I think it was just us two. And then, the Craig Murphy. Do you remember him, linebacker?
Oh, yeah, Craig Murphy.
Rohan Davey. No, not Rohan Davey. Rowan. Rohan Rowan, I think his name was. He was from New York, not upstate. I think he was from like the Bronx or something. But he wasn't a very good football player. I hope he doesn't watch this and get offended. But he was short, undersized, and he's from New York. I mean, come on, like he wasn't really into football. He just because
he was just.
How about this? So him and Craig Murphy roomed together. Craig is from the whitest area ever in Fairfield.
Right.
You know,
Craig's older brother played at UConn too.
Yeah, and he had. Murphy was absolutely, I don't even know how they lived together, but Murph and him lived down the hall from Gooch and I when we were freshmen. So Gooch and I, like, those were the only other two football players. And in our whole area, basically, we were living in the slums, you know what I mean? And so we would go hang out with them a little bit. Murphy had his wallpaper was nothing but Playboy nude magazine things. And Rohan he didn't like that at all. I was like, dude, I don't even know how y'all like live together. He's like, I don't either. I just sleep here.
Oh my God.
Murphy'd be dipping and spitting spit cups everywhere and nasty. And Rohan was not having it. But I think that's probably one of the reasons why Rohan only lasted like a year or two. And then he said, I'm out of here.
And Murphy was like the older Murphys because his older brother was a walk-on, played there. Like I think he might have been 2 years older than me, or maybe 3.
Okay.
And they were all really good students. Like I'm sure Craig was a very good student, even though he probably did not do anything or was just really smart.
He was really intelligent, no doubt.
Yes, his brother. I remember his brother being like a brilliant.
Yeah, Craig didn't do anything, man. He would stay up, like he would have like a party in West the night before finals, and he would just hand out like, I'm like, dude, I can't do it that way. Like, I don't know how you do this. And he's like shaking. I was like, how do you even fill in or write an essay? Because he's taking all these like, whatever those pills were college kids were taking. Nothing illegal.
Adderall?
No, it wasn't even illegal. It wasn't even Adderall. It was like you get them from Store 24. Vivarin, whatever that was. Yes. He would take that and drink 24-hour drinks and stuff. I'm like, dude, you are. He's like, no, this is the way the college is. You're supposed to do it this way. I was like, no, you're actually supposed to prepare and actually build up. That dude, he was on another level, but he affluent area and he knew a lot of people.
Oh, good dude, though. I remember he moved down to the jungle with Keatley and them.
Oh yeah, he was Keatley's boy, no doubt.
Yeah. Because Keatley might have been a year older though, right? Keatley was a year old.
I don't even know because they were both older than I was. So.
Keatley. Oh, that's right. Yeah, but Keatley didn't. That's right, because the crew used to be. Keatley was a year younger than me, but Keatley didn't redshirt, so I think he played right away. But Keatley originally was boys with Murph.
Yes, Craig Murph. Yep.
You remember? Was Jamie Lyle there when you were there?
No, he wasn't there.
He was gone already.
I don't remember him.
Jake Harrier was originally boys with Keatley.
Okay.
I don't know if they were as close later on, but they were originally boys.
Yeah.
They had like a whole crew.
That's right, because I remember what happened there with that.
They kind of had
They had a little fallout.
Yeah, I think they had a crew. Yeah, they had a whole crew. And there was a couple other guys. Oh gosh, I can't think of it now. But they had a crew and they had a squad that used to go out together, and they would be like, "Oh man, they were funny, dude. They used to make me laugh." They used to be like, "Yo, you come down here and hang out." Me and Dexter sometimes would go down there. We would be like, "You guys are crazy."
I was going to say, like, you and Dex, They go in
if Dexter thought they were great, but he loved them, of course. But you know,
Dex loves anybody. Again, God rest his soul. But you know, he loves anybody that just wanted to enjoy themselves and
yes.
And be, you know, just be good people.
Yes. It was funny because we would try to have these linebacker reunions, and it would be like, you know, we have to bring Sec, but like, forget it. Sec, I don't even know if Sec made it half the time there. He was probably, if he made it, he was there shortly. And then it was like Keatley and who else? I think we would try to get Shem, but if Shem came, it was only for a minute. He wouldn't come. Yeah, he was. Oh,
well, did I ever tell you? I never told you that. I'll tell you something offline.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Remember.
It's one of those things.
Yes, I could imagine. But it's yeah, I could imagine but that was a great. They were fun though. The thing was they were pure fun at the time. Like they were all different cats, you know. Like they were all into like kind of different things, but when they were together, they were like, oh my god, they were like
off each other.
Yeah, and
no doubt.
There was a guy, Jamie Lyle, who was pretty good, but I don't know if it was Skip who ran him off. I don't remember if Jamie Lyle might have been the guy before.
Tom Jackson.
Tom Jackson guy.
Yes,
because he was from the same high school as Monte, I think.
Okay.
And Jamie Lyle was like Jay Carrier was originally. Both like they were like good-looking cats, you know what I mean? Who could go around. So they had that whole crew. And you had those guys, and they were always up to something with girls. And then you had, and then you had Keatley and Craig, and those guys were just having a good time. And then anyone who came with them, though, you would have a good time. They were fun. They were definitely a fun crew. But then they all kind of went there. Jamie Lyle, I remember when he left. It was a shame because I thought he was pretty good, but I guess he might have been considered slow. He was a safety. Okay. He might have been considered slow, but I remember the spring game, he had like 3 picks. And I was like, I'm like, he's pretty good. But like they just did not, I don't know. They just hated on him. I don't know why. You know how sometimes they hated on guys and you didn't know why they hate him.
Right.
Yeah. You know, they would hate on Wah like that. You know,
absolutely.
Yeah, they would hate on him. Well, King had like 3 picks in one spring game or 2 picks, and they would just be like, nah.
You can't. Yeah, it's like once they get their opinion, you're stuck in that little.
You're stuck, dude.
You're done. You're in that trough. Like you're not getting out of it.
You're not. That's why the transfer portal probably is good. Like when people talk about the bad things about the transfer portal, there are a lot of bad things, and there are a lot of things that are tough. Sure. But one of the good things is if the coaches brought you in and they had this vision of you, or there's a change in coaches, they don't see you that way. You could get the heck out of there. When people are like, "Oh, these guys just transferred, they'll stick it out." I'm like, "Well, until you've actually played and you've seen a coach look at you like you're not good enough, then and I'm not going to give you a shot because I don't think you're good enough, and I'm not risking my career." Like. You know, luckily I was never really in that situation. The only time
segue. We need a segue into the segue, bro. That's a great segue right there.
The flag stomping.
I don't know, but I'm saying though that's a great segue though into the Heisman watch with Colorado and Travis Hunter, and the segue into the transfer portal. You know, and everything you're saying. But we'll learn to feed off.
Who do you think should get the Heisman?
Well, I wanted to hear you finish your story though with everything. Are you done?
No. So my story was basically like, so you know, like, luckily I wasn't in that like doghouse very long ever, so I never got in a situation. But I get it. Like, I understand. Like when I changed positions, that was hard, right? So, but it was, it has to be tough for a guy to go and like think you're going to have all this happening. And then you get to a kind of dead end where you're like, it's just never, you know what? Maybe I'm not good. Maybe the player's not good enough. Maybe you're just not going to ever get an opportunity. You don't know which it is. So
Absolutely.
you're better off moving on and trying somewhere else to see if you
Yep.
can get a shot. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
Now you
that's
can do it.
now
Because
you
if
can.
coaches can do it, why can't a player? And as long as there is a fine line there, but as long as it's respectable and professional, I don't see why you shouldn't be able to do it at the college level. I mean, we've already had these discussions, but no, I'm with you though in that respect, man. But yeah, Heisman, from a Heisman standpoint, I'll tell you, I don't even think it's a 2-horse race right now, really.
I don't even know if it's really a 2-horse
I
anymore.
agree. Yeah, I totally agree with you on that one. I don't see anybody. You look at what Travis Hunter has done, dude. Nothing's been done. Even Charles Woodson, who played both ways, I was looking up some of the stat. Like, brother, man, Travis Hunter he plays over 80% of all the reps of the entire team.
That's
Like
crazy.
he's got 1,200 snaps, 82 receptions. Hold on one second. I gotta shut my door. Sorry.
100.
Live TV,
Okay.
brother. Live TV. Hey. That's a good thing is we can cut it up. But anyway,
92 catches he has now. 92.
What's that?
I think he has 92 catches.
Oh, does he have 92 now? But anyway, he's got over 1,000 yards receiving, 11 touch over
14 tutties. 14.
Okay. And
his last game he had 10 catches. That's why. So
bro, and the thing is, damn, that's crazy. And since 1980, he's the first guy to ever have over 1,000 yards receiving and 3 picks in the season. Over 3 picks.
Yep.
At least. Dude, Charles Woodson, when he was on offense, only had 238 yards receiving. Like, this is hands down. It's got to be Travis Hunter's, like, no doubt.
So I think you're right. I think it's going to be Travis Hunter. I don't think there's really going to. I thought Ashton Ginty at one point was on pace to break Barry Sanders' record. If he had done that, I would have said that's the guy, because I that record is insane. What Barry Sanders did, and teams really stacked. Even though he still ran for a lot of yards, but they really started to stack the box against them, and so it really. I think the last games, instead of averaging 200 yards a game, he was averaging 100 or whatever.
Yeah, it was so terrible. He was only averaging like 140.
Yeah, so his last 4 games were like 169, 159, 209, 149.
Yeah.
So, but he has. I mean, his stats are crazy. 2,288 yards, 7.3 yards a carry, 28 touchdowns.
Yep.
He has 18 catches, another touchdown.
Here's the crazy thing, though. Barry Sanders did all that in 11 games, though.
Yeah, so I want to compare that. Let me see. I'm curious. Barry Sanders was, and you could argue was not as good. They were a good team, but they were not as good. Barry Sanders went for 26-28.
Yes.
11 games, you're right.
37 tugs.
37 tutties.
37, bro.
That's fucking bonkers.
And he was playing the 1 year behind Thurman Thomas, and he probably could have won it 2 years in a row, but he ended up getting cheated his senior. But here's the thing,
he was a kick returner, punt returner.
Yes, he was.
He had 2 touchdowns there. He had a touchdown as a punt returner, touchdown as a kick returner.
Dude, Barry Sanders was a dog in college. And think about the level of competition back then in what was that, the Big 8 then? Or I don't even know what that conference was back then.
And everybody ran, and that's all they did really back then.
Right. No doubt.
So, now it's a little more spread. So I do think if they're arguing the ball a lot as a running back, I don't think I honestly don't think a lot of college teams are built for a team to run the ball against you, because
Yeah.
They don't have enough good D linemen, and they don't have enough good like run stopping linebackers.
Right.
I made a joke the other day. I said,
systematically set up to stop the run.
I made a joke the other day. I said, listen, if you want to know if you should run the ball against the team with like 2 backs and a tight end, see how many guys they have with neck rolls in the linebacking crew. If none of them have neck rolls, then just run at those mofos because they ain't tackled enough people to hurt their neck.
Yeah. No doubt.
Any guys really tackled a lot of guys, that neck ain't connected properly.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
The 90s, dude, I don't remember if Shem had it. I don't think he did because I don't
No,
know.
he didn't. He was one of those fast guys.
They used to give him tackle. I remember my senior year. I'm like, he didn't have no 9 tackles. I know you guys just throwing him tackles. I love Shem. I love him.
You got to be the first one off the pile, man.
I mean, come on, man. You know, like I'd be buried underneath there holding a leg, and then she, Shem's at the top. Oh, okay.
Hey, they couldn't even read your jersey or anything like that because you're on the you're all muddy and whatnot. So they didn't even know. Well, okay, we'll give it to 58, Shem Allen.
I think he must have had a low number.
No, I think he was 58, bro.
Was he?
I think so. You were 36, right?
Keely was 42. Dexter was 96.
96.
I always thought it was a cool number. Like you always expect him to be at the end,
but reversed.
Yes. I wonder if
obviously.
And then who else was there? Sek was 45.
Yes, he was. Which is such a random number for Sek.
Capri was 44, whose son plays for Alabama.
Yes, you did say that. That's right.
He scored a touchdown the other day. Who else was in that crew? Oh, Gooch was 49.
Yeah, but then he changed his number to 7.
He had to hate that number. He had to have hated 49.
He absolutely hated it. He
changed it to that 7. Might be the worst number you could get.
49.
It has to be up there.
It's pretty bad.
94 is good. 49 is, I think, I don't know, that like upside down 9 with a 4. It just doesn't look the way it should.
It just doesn't. For some reason it makes.
I hated 30. I always hated 36.
Yeah.
I was like, when I was a running back, I was cool with it because Jerome Bettis. But as a linebacker, I'm like 36. That's like a fat linebacker's number. Like
somebody not even a fat linebacker. You're like the second string snapper for the punt team.
Yes. Like, why do I still have that stupid number?
You play guard and then tackle. So you guard the end of the bench and tackle anybody who takes the water. That's the number that is.
It was the worst. That's how I knew they
made it though. You made it good though. No doubt.
I made it good. My son's like, why was your number 36, dude? I'm like,
hey, speaking of, dude, segue.
What are we on to? What?
Hey, your son's number 14, Champ 14. Long, 14. How about that dude? Speaking of numbers,
so, you mean as far as who you want to get to UConn?
What's that?
Who you want to get to UConn?
I'm just saying though, the guy he coming from St. Peter's Prep, right? Up there, dude's balling. Like he actually got his first reps, and
he did.
It was only I think he only attempted like 2 passes. One was a screen, the other one, and then he had he got some PT because the starter ended up getting hurt. I guess his hand or whatever. But man, just a shout out to Champ Long, man. Keep grinding, bro. Because
I think they want him to come to UConn.
We would love for him to come to UConn. Go ahead, bro. I don't know if they can afford it. I mean, they're already paying old boy.
He's a backup. They won't have to pay him too much, I don't think, as a backup.
Shit, not if he's going to be a starter. I mean, what are they going to do with Evers? Yeah.
Great question. I don't know, man. I really don't.
How does that work when you want to cut somebody? I'm not saying UConn does. Don't get me wrong, Nick Evers. Don't get all upset and everything.
So remember, I told you they should be setting you up there to work with to Nick Evers and get him right.
I agree. I totally agree. And then if I had and dude, now you're talking about a quarterback room. Nick Evers and Champ. Champ's a beast, bro. I watched a lot of his film because obviously Rob Long went to UConn, who wore number 40. Speaking of numbers, that wasn't too bad of a number.
That's not. That's a pretty good number. I thought that's a good number. Yeah. 44 was a great number. Dupree should have been wearing 78, but
He didn't deserve to wear 44. He's too
44
big.
44 is a great damn number. That's a great number. I knew they wanted him because they gave him a great number.
Yeah, right. That's like double nickels, 55 or 22, like any double 11. Zeke wore 11.
Dude, it's a good number. 11 was a pretty good number.
Yeah. You look slim in 11 because you look slimmer.
You do look slim
because the vertical thing. You know.
Yeah. See, I would have liked 11. He should have just swapped me. I'll give him 36 when he changed positions.
Imagine that, him 36. Oh, he would have been so pissed at you.
You would have got the ladies.
I don't think he said you would have got the ladies. They would have mistaken him for you, or you for him, or vice versa.
That was the first time I realized I was actually handsome. I don't know if they were lying to me, but like the funniest line ever was at one of the camps. I don't even want to say the guy's name, but it was an NFL running back, and this guy worked for NC. Remember Joe Burns used to work for NCSA?
I love how you said I don't even want to say his names. Yeah.
No, but he's not the one that the story's about. The story's about a guy he played with in the pros.
Oh, okay.
And he was saying the guy was a running back, and he was saying that the guy thought he was good looking because he was getting girls, but it was because they wanted his money. So they wanted his money. But college, that wasn't the case because I didn't have no money. So,
dude, I think it'd be in all seriousness, if we could get a guy like Champ Long to transfer him, that'd be an unbelievable get right there.
That would be a good get.
I think
he's a dual threat.
In all honesty, though, he's in a good position right now. I don't know what the Maryland
was he the backup? Is he the backup?
He got to the number 2 position. So I don't know what Maryland with their starter
if he's moved up that much.
Is
what's that?
Their starter MJ Morris. He looks like he's kind of young. How old is he?
He might be in a little bit in the doghouse, though.
He's a sophomore. MJ Morris is a sophomore. So they're both the same year. So we need to try and let's get Champ, bro. He can wear this number right here because he's number 14 as well. That's why I was saying your son, every good quarterback wears this number. We all know that.
Yeah. I didn't even realize that at first that he had the same exact number as you, but then I'm like, you know what? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's a good number. You were a great quarterback.
You'll steal somebody's job.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, even Richard Todd was pretty good for the Jets wearing 14. So, yeah, I don't think you even know who Richard Todd is. Do you know who Richard Todd is?
Dude, anybody that has 2 first names, I will definitely not remember because that's awful. Richard Todd. You cannot be. He must be the most hello, sir. Yes, we're gonna run this play today. We're gonna go.
Damn good. He took the Jets to the AFC Championship.
Yeah, back in 42 when
he was the quarterback actually that replaced Joe Namath.
Okay, that's why nobody remembers him. Nobody ever remembers anybody who replaces a legend unless you're another legend like Aaron Rodgers.
And then he got replaced by Kenny O'Brien, who actually everyone was mad because everyone was mad that Ken O'Brien went ahead of Dan Marino. But the truth was, obviously Dan Marino was a Heisman Trophy winner. He should have went right away. But it wasn't like Ken O'Brien was bad. Like Ken O'Brien was good in the 80s. Like people were like, "Oh, Ken O'Brien wasn't good." Ken O'Brien was good. He just wasn't Dan Marino. You know what I mean?
So I mean that's like saying, Shane was good, but he wasn't Michael Vick. There's a different level. You got Dan Marino, who hands down was at a superior level, and then you have
top 5 of all time, probably
games.
Right. And,
Maybe they just like the name Ken O'Brien.
I don't know. I always. It's funny because I think of these guys as old. He's 64. He's not that much older than us. Damn it.
I know, right? Isn't that scary?
Like this guy played in the olden days, like 40 years ago.
He was going back in the 60s. No, he wasn't.
So, Ken O'Brien, I'm just curious. He was pretty good. He threw for a lot of yards, dude. Back in the 80s, people didn't throw for a lot of. He threw for 3,800, 3,700, 3,300.
No, he did. He was a good player.
He was good. He was solid. He threw a lot of picks. Threw a lot of picks.
Yeah.
That's the difference between him. But he was pretty good. I mean, Jets were never that great. He had a couple good years. Right. What was I going to say? So let's talk about this. So we've said the high. I think the Heisman is. I think you're right. It's pretty much a lock. I think Ashton Ginty's a clear number 2, and I think the clear 3 is probably the Oregon quarterback.
Yeah, now it used to be the Miami quarterback, but since they lost to Syracuse, which, by the way, that kind of shows you the growth of UConn football, because we got our asses handed to us when we played Maryland. And you can't tell me now we haven't grown because we just, we went to Syracuse, should have won that game. Syracuse goes down, beats University of Miami. And I know you never want to compare team for team kind of shit, but I mean, we're starting to get the talent. We're starting to get there, and the belief. That's a whole nother conversation in and of itself. But I'm with you as far as that, the Heisman aspect. I think the Oregon quarterback definitely would be the number 3 guy. But who cares about number 3? Hey, like Nelly said, I'm number 1. 2 is not a winner, and 3 nobody remembers.
It's true.
It's very true.
It's very, very true.
But yet we hand out second place trophies. So segue. I can't wait to talk about this flag planting.
Yeah, so I'm guessing you're pro flag planting. It sounds like. But I'll give you my take, and then I'll let you run with it.
Go.
My thought process was simply this: that flag planting is stupid on somebody else's field. You won the game, you shut them the fuck up, and you beat them, and you go and do flag planting, and to me, it takes away from your victory in that you look like you're trying to stick it to the other team. Now, Michigan, I was rooting for Michigan. I like the fact that they run the ball and they don't have a quarterback somehow. And they're
by the way, I told you these rivalry games.
Oh yeah, they happen all over the place. So, at Syracuse was one of them, right? They beat Miami. Yes. So I think that my thought process is pretty simply like it's unnecessary. You won the game. I think coaches should. Now, I don't know if coaches are the answer to stop this anymore in the era where you're paying guys. That's the hard part about it. Like, you're trying to control guys that you're trying to keep happy. That's kind of hard. I don't know how you do that. I can't say that I have the answer to that, although Sarkisian did it at Texas. He stopped them from flag planting. Right. Okay? So the other team, like if I was the other team, because I've been the guy on top and I've been the guy that have lost. I get it.
Yep.
I didn't want to say on bottom because it sounds
weird.
So it's one of those things that I think that I would have fought back too. If I saw that it happen on my field, there's no doubt. So you know the response you're going to get. Now, when Baker Mayfield did it when he was in college, I think everyone was just shocked by it and they didn't really kind of wrap their head around it. But they now know. Everyone has social media. They also, every player in the world has watched when Terrell Owens spikes the ball on the Dallas Cowboys 50-yard line, and my man, and I happen to know him pretty well over the years from running camps, my man George Teague laid him out. I always told George Teague, even though I'm a Cowboys fan,
I love it.
George Teague is the man. I said, as awesome as a player as you were, which he was, and you won, you had you beat Miami, who was the top dog back when he was at Alabama, and George Teague had the interception. I remember going to the game. I was like, I don't know who I'm going to root for, because I really didn't have anybody that was that interested. But when George Teague picked off the pass and stripped it, I was like, that guy is the man.
Beast. Right.
That dude is the man. So when he took out Terrell Owens, I was like, dude, like one of my favorite Cowboys. Luckily, I happen to have met him and have talked to him on the phone many times. I think he was a head coach in a high school at the time.
Okay.
And so he's the exact guy that I thought would have been the guy to make those kind of plays. Like even keeled, good dude, but energetic. I don't know if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. Yeah. You've got to be that kind of guy in order to do that in those moments.
Yep. Like he is confident enough of himself that those things don't,
Yes.
Elite level of calm confidence. But but anyway, so
I like that. I like that little slogan there.
Confidence.
Elite level of quiet confidence.
Calm confidence. Yeah,
bro.
Yeah. I mean, there are people that have that and do that really, 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 really well. It's funny because I would say, like, in my nature, I'm really not like that. Like, I'm not a calm confidence person, but I would say, like, if you test me in a fight, like, I'm calm because I know that I'm winning that fight. Like I'm calm when someone tries to test me because I know that, like, this guy who's gonna fight me better be a dog because I know I'm a dog in a fight.
Yeah, I know. So, that's why I love you, man.
Yeah, but as far as like my personally, I don't think I'm necessarily a quiet confidence guy. Like, I don't think my personal life I'm really like that. I'm confident in myself, but I'm not like
confident.
Yeah, but I'm not a calmer confidence. So it's interesting, but yeah. So that's kind of my take. I think that it's bad for football, not necessarily the planting of the flag and the fighting back, but what comes of it nowadays, which is it's an automatic social media melee, and every guy wants to be on social media, so they don't want to be the guy in the back. And it's funny because one of the like criticisms of Ryan Day now is, and kind of as a coach, like I would have been the guy because I'm just fiery. I would have been in the mix trying to get them all back, but I get it because you are probably going to get clocked. And if that's not you, that may not be the place to be, right?
Right. It's It's not the place.
These are 300-pound men who are huge, strong, tough, elite athletes moving around.
Pads, by the way. In pads,
hitting each other. Yeah. Punching each other, throwing each other, and you're a coach and you're in your 40s or 50, and you're like, you ain't moving them. So
and not in pads, by the way,
and not in pads, but it ends up like looking crazy because he's standing back, and you see, and he's like, "What's going on?" Like it's almost like you don't know what's going on. Your players are fighting, and then he stands up for them, which I would do too as a coach. He stands up for them and says, "Hey, if someone plays the fight," but it's funny because he wasn't in the mix of it, Like there were coaches that I think it was, which coach was it? Napier maybe was in the mix of it. Florida State. I think he got right in the middle of that thing and was trying to I don't remember if he was trying to stop it or whatever or save their flag, but he was like his instinct was to jump in. Right. I just think overall it's a bad look, and I think. If you're a casual fan, like if you're not a guy who played the game, I think they love it. I think they think it's the greatest thing ever. They could say all they want. It's not good for football. They love it because they're going to watch the games.
You think the casual fan finds that okay?
I think the woman probably finds it appalling. Okay. Yeah, I think the casual guy, they're going to say this is bad for football, but they're going to keep watching it.
No doubt.
It's like those old hip hop videos where there was like the fights and stuff. Now that stuff has worn people's welcome. Like eventually people don't want to see it no more, right? Because remember those channels like World Star. World Star became that big. It's still big, right? Because people used to like to watch all these like random fights and stuff. And but then there was a point where you're like, all right, this is out of hand.
Yeah.
Like people are trying to get, so
it's about humanity.
I think after this, I think during it, people enjoyed watching it in the sense of like, what the hell's going on? But if it happens every weekend, it's going to be very, very bad for football.
Agreed.
Now it's a rivalry game.
Aspect.
What's that?
I do agree with you in that aspect about
it being bad. I'll let you go.
Football. If you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. All right. Good. Because you're not entirely, but I mean, we might as well just hand out second place trophies to everybody now and feel sorry and sympathy for everybody. Not even empathy. I'm not talking about empathy. I'm talking about sympathy. Now we should just feel.
I don't have sympathy for them.
That's what it sounds like. Hold on, I let you go, man. I told you.
It's going to be a fight.
Let's go, man. Let's go. And I'm gonna put my flag in this computer and then ruin it and have to buy a new one. No, I won't do that. You got to be smart about what you do. No, but seriously though, I think, all honesty, Dave, I don't see anything wrong with it when it comes to the rivalry aspect, like Oklahoma against Texas or Ohio State, Michigan. Like, dude, if you don't want them to put a flag on your field, win the game, and then you can put a flag on your own field. Florida State always puts a flag on their field with the Chief. Always. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, in my opinion, I truly believe, dude, we play, like, think about how coaches coach their players to prepare for this game. And now they're supposed to emotionally turn this off when you're talking about 18 to 23-year-olds. Like, we just won a huge game. And I said this last week on Thanksgiving Day. I said, man, this is a huge rivalry game. This is the only way that Michigan coach saved his job. So do you think he's really thinking about putting a flag on the field? Maybe he should. I'm
not saying he should have been thinking about it. I'm just saying going forward.
No doubt. But, dude, we play an emotional, violent, full contact. They always compare it to war, which I think is a little bit obnoxious comparing it. But the preparation is in the camaraderie and the teamwork and the trusting your brotherhood, that kind of thing. I totally agree is, I would imagine, like the military. Like, you got to trust the dude right beside you to do their job. And if they don't do their job, and you do yours, you might lose that battle. And it's a battle.
Like planting the American flag after you take a hill.
Yeah. Well, think about it. When we went to the moon, what did we do as a country? We put the flag on the moon to state, hey, this is ours.
But no one owned the moon.
But hold on. But exactly. The players don't own the stadium. The university does. The taxpayers do. Like, I mean, come on. Let's keep it to college football. My point is this, though. Like, those rivalry trophies, when they go and grab the trophy from the other side, is that not as disrespectful as putting a flag in the middle? Like, I mean, they're literally taking the trophy from that team. I mean, it's just as disrespectful. Social media has killed all of this because this Gen Z population takes things way too personal. It's a bigger thing than just placing a flag in the middle of the field. Dude, what's his name? And I love that he did it. Golly, you said his name earlier. Baker Mayfield, who's supposedly the OG of doing this, he did it out of pure emotion. It wasn't planned. It wasn't anything. It was just a huge win for them. And he's like, yo.
Do you think everybody else didn't plan this, though?
No, I'm not saying that.
I believe that on Baker. I believe that on Baker.
Yeah, I think some of these teams do. And I think that's a little immature. And I think it needs to be addressed. So I'm with you in that way.
Right.
In that respect, bro. I don't think it's a good thing, but I don't think it should be policed dude, where else in this world can you literally, truthfully, now I'm being dead ass serious about this, Dave. You could actually kill somebody on the field of play and not commit murder, and you will not get prosecuted because it was in the scheme of the game. Like our game of football, it's a different beast, man. It truly is like going to battle. And you could paralyze somebody, you could break a lot of bones, you could put them out of commission, you can do all these things, and you'll never get prosecuted. So when these kids get emotionally into this, now I don't think it should be planned, which a lot of these kids now find it funny and cute.
Oh, they do it as that is what they do it as.
Absolutely. And that's dumb, in my opinion. I don't think it should be in the game. Don't get me wrong. But I think emotions are so high at times, and coaches actually get caught up. Like a big victory for Michigan, like this one, dude, the head coach and that coaching staff, they have families that they need to provide for. They understand how big this game is. So while they're hugging and doing all that stuff, they didn't realize that these kids had all this stuff planned. And yeah, you'd like to say you know everything about your team, but come on, dude, you got 120 kids, and it may be the last guy on the team that does it. And that's some bullshit, like real talk. And those guys don't need to be doing it. If anybody does it, it should be the fucking, and I'm passionate about it because I'm cursing now, but it should be the captain, the leader, like Baker did.
I saw guys that were injured planting flags.
Hmm?
Injured players planting the flag.
Yeah, that's some dumb shit. They should get their ass whooped in the locker room. You know how we would do it at UConn. You do some dumb shit, you're going to go through the gauntlet.
Yeah.
Remember that gauntlet they had on with Richie Connors and all those?
Yeah, oh yeah, those guys are crazy. Yep.
Dude, you do something dumb, you're going to go through that gauntlet. Russo, all those guys, man, they would knock your ass out in a heartbeat, and they would check you real quick. That's what needs to happen. It's not solely on the coaches. It's also on the players, the leaders of that team. Yo, we got to be better than this. And Sarkisian, I appreciate what he said in his press conference. I really do. I respect the hell out of that because he's going about it the right way. But at the end of the day, you don't think he went in that locker room and he probably addressed that for a quick second? Hey, we need to learn how to win. Just like you need to learn how to lose. I'll never forget Skip Holtz saying that to us. Now, once we became successful at UConn, you got to learn how to win as well as you have to understand how to lose. Like, you can't win like a loser. You got to be better than others in order to stay above others. And that's where I'm frustrated about this whole conversation. Players need to police their own locker room. Leaders on that team need to police themselves. And it's not.
How do you police guys that are there for 2 years and out? Transfer, right? And
that's
how you police a guy that's making $500K and you're making $10K? Okay. I mean, how do you? Now in the NFL they do because there's levels of seniority. There's an actual, and you know this from playing arena. Like there are guys that are adults with kids that are like playing in the same locker room as young, wide-eyed 22-year-olds, right?
Yeah,
so,
you got 37-year-olds playing with 25-year-olds,
and they ain't tolerant certain things from certain people, right? So some guys are not going to deal with no bullshit, right? So, but in college you don't have that. And now you have some guys that are there for less time, and some guys that are making more money, and you ain't telling me to do shit, which is part of the issue.
That's even more of a reason why they have to police their own locker rooms, bro. They need to. Like, so what are you going to say? The head coach is solely responsible?
My solution is
trickles down.
I'll tell you my solution is what Stanford has come up with, and we'll see how it works. But Stanford has created the GM position in college to be above the whole football program, just like the NFL. And Andrew Luck is the GM now, okay? And he's going to be the GM. And obviously, you take someone who's like Andrew Luck, like respectable,
Right.
good student, obviously an excellent pro in their case. So he's above the program, and his job is kind of like the overall, like basically like for lack of a better word, he's the CEO of football, right? Gotcha. So he's the CEO of football, right? He's not coaching or anything like that. He's the CEO of football, and you get a guy like that who says, "Hey, head coach X, this is what we expect in a program. This is the type of players we want to have in a program. This is the kind of character we expect." And he's kind of that intermediary between the AD and the president and the head coach, right? And that person, just like the NFL, right? And you have that. And by the way, Andrew Luck would be the fall guy too if the program fails in some of those areas, no doubt. Just like the NFL, he'll be if they don't win, if he brings on the wrong guys, if he's got guys acting a fool, he'll be held accountable for those reasons. But the coach can kind of more coach. Like I think for a coach nowadays, not in the old days, because I looked it up. Baker Mayfield, he's an innovator. He was the first guy to do it. So in all these years of football, the only recorded case of a guy actually flag planting on the opposite team, I'm sure it happened, but I'm saying the only one recorded is Baker Mayfield doing it in 2017, right? And Baker Mayfield, by the way, said to the people who are complaining about it, take the L and move on. So Baker Mayfield's in your camp of these kind of things, but I do think that person will allow the coach to focus on the team stuff, the football stuff. Yes. And there's so many things the head coach has to do now, including right now the GM is like below the head coaches in most of these places, which means that I'm the GM, I'm in charge of player personnel, but I report to the head coach. It's kind of like a odd relationship. So basically the head coach just takes on more responsibility. Like I know they're getting paid the most, but they're just taking on extra more and more responsibility. So you guys are piling all these things on them. They have to hire more and more people to handle all these things. You're asking the head coach to also be a CEO. Like I just don't see that. Yeah. I personally, in the old days,
I think you bring up a great point. Yeah, I really do.
I don't see that in the long run. Like there are guys that could do it. Nick Saban could do it. There's a few guys that could do it. Okay, but in the long run, you really don't want them to have to do it. Because
you want them to focus on winning the game.
Right. It takes away from them winning the game, getting their players better, building relationships, recruiting, right? Yeah. And obviously the GM helps you with recruiting. So that's it starts to take away from all those kind of things. And you now in today's game, you really need a basically you're trying to mass manufacture Nick Saban's. Like, I don't know if that's possible. Right. I don't know if you're going to, I mean, maybe the guy at Oregon's like that, he seems, but he's also from that same tree. He was under Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart is kind of like that, although Kirby Smart is like that, but he's also wild too. So like, if you watch him on the sideline, I'm like, how does that guy get from that side of the sideline all the way over to this side of the sideline?
I know that would be you. 100%. That would be you. Like, where'd he go?
He's up and down. Like he's like, how do you move that fast? He probably can't even run anymore. He's
in absolutely. 2 seconds.
But
absolutely.
But there's not many guys. I think in the long run, if you want these teams to win, especially all the money you're putting into it, they're billion-dollar industries. You're paying players. You don't want the guy who wants an extra $100,000 to have to sit there with Kirby Smart every time they want more money. Like that's going to piss head coaches off. I mean, Mac Brown said it like when he got fired or whatever, he said it, this game is really not the game that he got back into it for is not the game anymore.
Right.
And yes, he's older, but he makes a really good point in the sense that I can't really, run my program the way I want to because a lot of things are out of my control. And those things that are out of the head coach's control or are very hard for a head coach to control has to go to somebody because you can't ask them to coach, coach. Yeah. I mean, it's just not possible, in my opinion.
It definitely isn't. I completely agree with you. And don't get me wrong, like my camp that I'm in, I don't mind seeing raw emotion.
Yes.
And I am okay with planting the flag if that is like the team leader on your home field. Cool, do it. But I don't think there's a place for it on an away field. But I also have a feeling of part of me says it's competition, bro. Unless you've been
But isn't
in
the
the locker
competition
room,
over? Isn't it over once the game ends?
no,
Isn't
you're
the
absolutely
competition
right.
over? This is
You're
my
absolutely right.
counter.
So,
Isn't the competition over? Like, so we won, we celebrate. Isn't the competition over? And I'm going to bring it back down to like the root where I see this being a big issue. I'm hanging around with dads who coach in flag football or tackle football, and they all think at the end of the game that we got to fight and we got to argue and we got to like, I don't like the way you talk to me or you or blah, blah, blah. Like, how about this? Shut the fuck up. You lost.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. You won. Go celebrate with your team. That's the way I look at it.
That's exactly right. Celebrate with your team.
That's the way I look at it.
I totally agree.
When you plant the flag you want to do it at your home team, I don't care if you do it at your home. Okay, it's home. You do it at an away team. You're telling this is how I look at it.
Right.
You're telling the other team, I would like to fight you again.
What? But that's how you interpret that.
No, okay. I would interpret that shit as the losing person. 100% you want to fight me. So let's fucking go. You want to fight me? Let's fight. Okay, so the game's over. So now we want to also fight. Okay, cool. So let's fight. Let's see who the best fighter is. All right.
No, it's not about that. It's
you plant that flag. Game, bro.
I understand what you're saying.
Like Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield can say that shit all he wants. Okay. Yes. I planted that flag. Yeah, you take that loss. Let me tell you something. If LeVar Arrington was playing football at the same time when he was at Penn State and Baker Mayfield planted that flag in front of LeVar Arrington would have knocked him the fuck out, and Baker Mayfield wouldn't be planting no shit in anywhere ever again in his life because he'd be in the hospital. Okay? So that's how I look at it, because these dudes also, they don't fight either, by the way. They just push each other, okay? And they grab each other and they wrestle each other like fake wrestling. Like, if you did this in the fucking 90s or 2000s, early 2000s, I'm just telling you the way I look at it. You plant that flag in front of LeVar Arrington, and he would have put you in the hospital.
So here's the other thing that these young men need to understand. Okay. And if I were a coach, this is one of the perspectives, because everybody wants money, right?
Sure.
Money is the ultimate goal of these players. That's why a lot of them go to college. They don't go to learn or get educated.
Right.
Sorry, that's
unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, like that's the reality of it, and it's a sick reality. But everybody wants that fast money. Everybody wants that quick money. Everybody wants to. What's in it for me? What's in it for me? Even though football definitely is the ultimate team sport, hockey's there. It's up there, and it's a rough sport. I mean, hell, they allow fighting in hockey. They're even cutting down on that because of the violence. But where I'm trying to go is, and I hope I can explain it, is look. If you win, you deserve the right to celebrate your win. And I agree with you as far as celebrating your win with your team, however that may be. Now, this is where I'm going back to the leaders of the locker room. They need to say, hey, no, we're not going to do that. We can plan it on our sideline if we want to plan it. But I don't think we need to. We're taking so much out of just playing this game now.
I think that might be too much to expect from
I agree. I'm
not sure. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not sure.
But the problem is 90 to 95% of the culture of America, of the world, has not experienced a locker room experience at that high emotional level.
Right.
So you get these kids that they don't understand how you need to act accordingly. And that's why I do respect Sarkisian's response to all this stuff. And that's not his way of doing it.
But I think he's right. Now, I don't think these other coaches knew it was going to happen. I mean, I think they were shocked. I think all the coaches were not probably expecting. Like, I don't think they said, "All right, after we win, somebody grab the flag and plant it on the
yeah. Like that's not like when we go into the locker room. I know. Remember at UConn, we'd all go in the locker room. I'm sure a lot of football teams do this. You go and sing the fight song,
right?
And that right there is disrespectful enough because a lot of the locker rooms you can hear sometimes the other team celebrate. And you know what I mean?
But it's you celebrating you. It's not me celebrating.
I agree.
Sticking it in your face. Like if so, like how about this? I'll use little kids. The two. This happens all the time with little kids, right? Someone's upset. Okay, I had to teach my kid that when you win, like, you don't like, try to stick it to them. You know what I mean? Like, because sometimes kids would beat you and they'll be like, you stink. And I can tell you this, you said that to me, like I'm from a different era. Like if you said that not as a little kid, I wouldn't have understood it as a little kid. But like I'd be like, why is that kid mean? But in high school, and I go back to this. It wasn't my last game in high school. It was my before last game of high school. We lost the game, and we weren't very good. But it was our rival high school. It was the next high school over.
Yeah.
The game ended on the 1 yard line. Okay.
Yeah.
So they got to stop at the 1 yard line. There was a whole nonsense that was going on. We go to shake hands. There's a kid like I played ball with some guys that they played football, but they really were like just wanted to fight people, So that's why they were on the football team.
Right. Absolutely.
And so the kid, he was crazy, absolutely crazy. And the other team had a kid who I knew him all from wrestling as young kid. Like, we all knew each other because I used to wrestle over in this town, and so did he. So we all knew each other when we were younger, right? So we're going to shake hands, and like I don't know, the one kid said something to him, and he said something back, and the one kid trips him. Next kid like sticks his leg out, trips him, and the other guy like punches him. And that next thing you know, as soon as I saw that, I said, "Oh yeah, melee, like melee, right?" Like I still talk to guys that I'm friends with from that town from this day. And they're like, "Oh yeah, we got the best of you." I said, "Nobody got the best of me." Like I mean, I was hitting guys with their own helmets. So, but dude, that thing is was crazy. Okay. It was crazy. And it was caused by, I know both guys and I like both guys. Okay. But they were both crazy. And, the one from our town, the one from your town. And when they, like, you knew when they shook hands that it was going to be bad. They were both like, just, I'm not going to say they were bad guys. They're not bad guys, but they love trouble. They love to fight.
They're the ones that look to love to fight. Yeah, absolutely.
So you started it, and it was a bad look, and then all the school, the leagues calling the AD and blah blah blah. We should suspend guys. I don't remember if anyone got suspended or not, but the funniest thing of all is when we got on the bus and we lost 14-12, and ended on the 1 yard line, and the guy they stopped was me, it was when we're going out, they throw in rock the fans, not the kids. Kids went in the locker room, their team went in the locker room after the fight. Their fans were throwing rocks at our bus, like breaking windows. Like that's, and this from growing up in Reading, that those things could happen in some of these rivalries, especially like tough towns, kids.
Right,
right. I'm not even talking if they're good at football. I'm just saying the town is tough, right?
Yeah.
So we used to say, if we might lose the game, but we ain't losing the fight. Like that was like that. I can't believe that was our sayings. Right. You know what I mean? Like it was craziness how they thought. So that should not be in college football. That's my point. No, that should not be in college football.
I don't disagree with what you're saying. And what I was going to say is this. And to your point, when you're bringing up like the youth and everything like that, that's where the example needs to be set. On TV, because now it's going to transfer down when a youth team, and this is where it's going to get scary, Dave. Now, and I didn't get a chance to make this point, but at least college football is a controlled environment. Nobody has guns. Nobody has knives on the field, hopefully.
Right, because they check it as you come in.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And it's on the field, and there's enough security. But when you get to high school football games, especially in certain areas, especially South Florida, especially some of Atlanta, Texas, California sometimes, Jersey.
Yeah,
absolutely. So where I'm going with this is you can't police that. Mom, dad, I shouldn't say moms, but maybe some moms in the South. But my point is this, where it gets extremely emotional, where the parents can't check their emotions because they're feeling their kids' emotions. And now it turns into, oh, this guy has a gun on him. And now it turns into something deadly. That's where it needs to get checked. And us as adults, we need to go ahead and try and police that as much as possible. I totally agree with you. I'm playing devil's advocate here with this. I don't see that anything wrong when it sticks to football. Do you need to rub it in somebody's face? No. That needs to stop. But my biggest concern about all this and bringing it full circle is if it transfers down. Just like,
100% will transfer down. It will.
It absolutely will, because they see it and they're like, oh, we're going to do this. Just like when they see a touchdown dance. Kids follow what they see on TV. And we can't always police all that stuff because we don't have enough time. As I'm not a parent, but, I can only imagine what kids watch all the time with YouTube and all this social media stuff.
That's why the NFL has great penalties for these kind of things. You never see this happen.
So what do you do? Take away the victory then? Or suspend?
No. In the NFL, you would you find a guy. Listen, these guys get fined steep fines. You know what I'm saying? The individual players get steep fines. The team could get a steep fine. Listen, they fined Michigan. I don't know what they did with the other game because there's 4 games that this happened.
Yep.
But Michigan and Ohio State were fined $100K. $100,000 to the university that's bringing in $1 billion. That's a joke.
Man, it's like $10, bro.
Yeah, so there's nothing there, and I guess they're investigating who the players were that started it, which is good. But what are you actually going to do?
You need to find those kids now because they're getting paid,
right?
And if they're not getting
paid,
well, that's dude, that's coming out.
See, that's what they got to come up with. So, what are the penalties? There should be penalties, right?
There should be penalties.
You want to do something dumb? There's a consequence for it. Right now, there's
now that it's a business, I totally love where you're going with this, man. Even if you're not getting paid and you want to do something dumb like this, there needs to be a precedent set right now so this doesn't happen next year. 100%, bro. 100%. I agree with you.
Or how about this? National championship game. Conference championship. You can get into the final 12 if you win, and you don't get in if you lose, right? The conference championship, which are this week, I think. So, what about that? You just lost. Okay. And everyone's like, oh, take the L. Yeah. Listen. So the flip side of the emotion is, yes, you won the flip side. The other flip side is the negative emotion when you lost. And I can tell you how it feels for me when I lose. I don't know how other people are, but I am very, very angry.
Angry. Yes.
Yes. Very, very angry. And I'm not saying I should be angry. I'm just saying that's how I feel. Yeah. So the best thing for me is to walk into the locker room and not see anything and just kind of go take a shower.
Yes. Don't talk to me for like 45 minutes.
Girl, and then to be done with it right back in the day. But because if I go out and I start, having a couple of drinks, or I get riled up, it's going to be bad, right? And that was one of the things. I thought Skip actually handled that stuff really, really well.
He absolutely did.
The no going to the bars in season and stuff like that. I don't even know what they do now, but these places do now. But I thought that was good because I think, in the TJ era, which I call it, and I can only imagine how Wild West it was before I got there because I think it was more tame by the time I got there, and I thought it was the Wild West. But, because it was the 3-strike rule, which meant I guess you get 2 strikes. So you can do whatever you want twice. So
too many.
That's the dumbest, by the way, now that I've coached for a long time, do not have strikes for your players ever because they will use 2 of the 3 strikes.
Yeah.
Even your good kids, your
Yeah.
angels, they're going to use 2 strikes.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yep. Yep.
It's just human nature, right? But I can only imagine like what was going on. That's but like fights were like you lost, you if you didn't have a girlfriend or you weren't with the girl that you were
Oh,
dating,
you're looking for
you were in a
somebody
fight.
to just look at you funny.
Exactly, and that's like that's not good, and I recognize that that's not good,
Yeah.
and but you want to kind of try to not bring that in because what you're right with social media, like when we went to school, there wasn't social media. People didn't see things you were upset about. Nobody knew. You didn't have to watch it on TV, you know.
Yeah.
And if you did, it was CPTV, which
Right.
they probably had to cut. They probably had to cut to Jerry Lewis telethon right after. So, all right, we have to end this. I noticed 2 minutes left in the UConn Villanova game, but we have to cut to Jerry Lewis telethon, CPTV. Sorry, UConn fans.
Yeah. I'll never forget the University of Maine game. We came back to campus. Everybody's like, "Oh, sorry you lost." You know, I was like, "No, we ended up coming back and winning that game." We were down by 17 with 4 minutes left to go in the game, or 16 points. We ended up winning the game on a Dave DeArmas field goal.
Yes, that was an amazing game. And equally unamazing game was my last game was when you got hurt against UMass and we're up by 3 touchdowns. And
yes,
that once you went down, I was like, oh no, we're in trouble. And everyone's like, oh, we're winning by 3 touchdowns. It's not gonna be an issue. Yes. I'm like, wait a minute. We
were up by 20 with like 8 minutes to go in the fourth or something.
Yeah, there's gonna be we had no offense. And you know what's funny? Think about this back then. Now Holtz did a great job. But if you think about it back in the day, why did we not have a backup quarterback that was capable and ready? If you think about now, he did after that happened. After that happened, he had Hobbs.
We went 7-4, right? That year?
No, we were 5-6.
Oh,
that ended up making us 5-6.
Yeah.
I think 5-6. But 5-6 or 6. I think it was
No, I think we were 5-6 that year.
Yeah, I think we were. And then we were 7-4 the next year.
Losing season that I had.
Well, the next year, Hoff was your backup, and Hoff was obviously a capable backup. But the year before, we did not. We did not. Yeah. So, and it was like
we weren't prepared.
We were not. We definitely were not prepared.
You know what's crazy? I don't know if you know this about when I got hurt. That was to get Dak Newton 1,000 yards receiving. So we ran a half sprint out to the left, and it snowed that game before. And the snow melted, so we were playing basically mud and ice.
Yep.
And I went to plant because it was a half sprint out to the left, and Dak was wide open on a post, and I went to throw it. And as I went to throw it, my foot slipped. They blitzed, and that's why we checked to it. We called it, and they were in a blitz, and that's when I got sacked. I heard my knee pop. I heard my ankle pop, and I told him, like, I can go back in the shotgun and at least hand the ball off or just throw it 3-step kind of a thing.
Right.
Just catch and throw it. They're like, no, we're not going to allow you to go back in, which is probably a smart move.
Yeah.
Because they end up, having Parseghian knee in a high ankle sprain.
Was it ACL or no?
It was ACL, MCL. ACL was torn less than 30%. My MCL was torn. My ACL was torn less than 30%, so they didn't have to reconstruct it. Luckily. Oh. But yeah, it was. Anyway, that's why we actually called that play instead of just running. We were trying to get Dak Newton his 1,000 yards, to be honest, and become the first 1,000-yard receiver since I think it was Didio, maybe.
Now I'm mad at Skip for that. Now that I know that.
We could have just ran like a.
Ran the ball, been over.
He had 996 yards receiving. We could have just ran a little
screen.
We could have ran a screen.
A quick screen, dude.
Yeah. But anyway,
he was young.
That did suck. But dude, speaking of UConn, how about them going 8-4? this
So
year.
but before we talk about that, what was the conclusion on the
Oh, the flag planting?
don't plant the flag into a person. That's the conclusion.
Yeah, definitely don't plant it into a person.
Did you see the guy who threw it like a javelin? He took it away. I don't remember which game it was, Florida maybe, or
it probably was Florida.
The guy
State.
took it away and he threw it into the stands like a javelin. What movie was it where the guy gets hit in the chest by a javelin? What was the movie?
I can't think of it, but I know exactly what you're talking about, though. I'm sure we can Google that thing.
I feel like it's an Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah.
I know what it was. I know what it was. Happy Gilmore.
Oh yeah. when he threw the stick, the
flag.
The flag. Yeah.
Yeah. Is Happy Gilmore? And he hits the guy and strikes him.
And
that's what I was thinking of. It had to be.
That's funny.
Maybe we should put that up as a funny. It's amazing that it's become real life.
Yeah, it is.
Throws flag. Let's see.
Yeah, I was just trying to. The penalty flag that ruined a player's career. That was the guy from Cleveland. Trying to look up a movie. When they what is it? Golf flag.
What's that?
I was just. Oh yeah, it was Happy Gilmore. Happy Gilmore. Happy Gilmore. Yep.
Let me see if I can share my screen on it. Let me see if I can pull it up. Here it is.
Yeah, the Happy Gilmore's his caddy ends up throwing it.
I want that ball.
Dude, only here.
Let me see if I can find a football player throws flag. Let's see if I can throws. I don't even know if I can.
When I looked that one up, it just gave me the Cleveland Browns lineman when the ref threw a flag at him and hit him in the eye and ended his career.
Maybe it was. Yes, that was horrible.
That was terrible.
It totally.
And they wonder why we want to wear shields on our helmets now. It's not only because of a penalty flag; it's also because the fact of the matter is, people poke you in the eyes.
There's 100% right. Like, they don't let you in high school like wear like. I guess your shield has to be
clear.
Clear, yeah. I'm trying to find
because they want to see your eyes, like the medical aspect of it. They want to see your eyes, that kind of thing. So was it Georgia then?
No Georgia. By the way, did you watch that game? The Georgia Tech game?
No.
8 overtimes.
That's crazy.
8 overtimes. Georgia Tech had the game a couple of times. I mean, they should have won the game. People were leaving. They were up 27-13. It actually reminded me of that UMass game. They were up, and then the wheels fell off, and they tied it. But then it was back. The game was the most unbelievable thing I'd ever seen. I mean, I can't find the flag. It's got to be somewhere.
Unsportsmanlike flag planting chaos over college football rivalry weekend. Michigan State versus Ohio State, blah, blah, blah. Florida State comfortably defeated, whatever. Florida Gators 31-11. How bad is Florida State right now?
Oh, my God. One win? One win?
I think so. That's just obnoxious. Yeah, see, in my opinion, Dave, and again, I was playing devil's advocate there. I do not condone, and I know how you break up these things, and we need clicks and all that kind of great stuff. But at the end of the day, I don't care if I'm the bad guy, whatever. But I do not believe in it. I don't condone it. I definitely don't want it to become a trend. I don't think that has a place in football and or sportsmanship. Man, you got to truly win like a champion. Learn how to win. I'll never forget when Skip said that, and is understanding. Yes, when you start a program and you're awful, you have to understand that losing cannot be accepted. Once you learn how to win, now you have to understand how do you keep winning and stay on top and make sure that you handle yourself like professionals, especially now that they're getting paid. And whether it's suspensions, like you're saying, Dave, whether it's fines now because they are getting paid, now you're talking about something like a whole nother issue as far as like settlements. Can players now, are they going to go into arbitration now to combat against that?
Well, that's going to have to be. That's the whole argument for unionization. Like, what happens if someone gets injured? This is a total different conversation, so I don't even know any of these answers. But someone gets injured in that fight badly, meaning I'm not even talking death. I'm saying, I don't know, accidentally blows out a knee.
Career.
Blows out a knee, right? Or someone breaks someone's
jaw. What if they're
jaw.
First round draft pick, guaranteed? And yeah, you're right. And they injure their leg or break their arm. And
who's liable for that? Who's liable? How about this? This is funny, actually.
And they're gonna fight over it. Like, come on.
What happens if they hit somebody? Let's be honest.
What with the fan? Yeah, he threw that into the stands, Dave.
By the way, he should have been a javelin thrower. That guy should have been a javelin thrower. He has nice, really good technique. All through.
The technique wasn't bad.
Technique, yeah. What if I hit a fan and killed him? I mean, think how crazy that is.
Absolutely, hits a little kid, and you know what I mean. Like now again, it's got to be taken out of sport. There's no need for you if you want to do it on your home field after the team leaves, whatever. But go sing, go celebrate with your band, go celebrate with your teammates, go in the locker room, talk all the shit you want to talk, go have fun. But, you know, there's part of me that says, hey, if you don't want them to put it on your field, win the game. But at the end of the day, if you want to get paid like adults and professionals, you got to act like a professional.
That's true. And then the other, there was something else I thought about it with respect to the flag planting, but now it's slipped my mind. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that's going to have to be. They have to figure out what they're going to do from that standpoint, and I do think there's a huge liability issue that goes beyond it because the game's over, right? I don't think that the game after the fight after the game is covered. Here's the other thing that I'm curious your thoughts on. So the storming of the field was it used to be the coolest thing. I've stormed the field, by the way, when Rutgers beat Louisville, and I was an assistant coach. I can't remember at Riverdale.
Was that when Ray Rice was there?
Yes. Okay. Ray Rice and Brian Leonard, and they beat Louisville, who might have been undefeated maybe at the time or something. I don't remember. And I stormed the field with another coach that I coach with, and we were like, "Have you ever stormed the field?" He's like, "No." Have you? I'm like, "No," because we were playing. You know what I mean? I never thought it. Obviously, was never going to do it. And I was like, "Do you want to storm the field?" He's like, "Yeah, let's do it." So we went and stormed the field. He played at Duke. He played football at Duke, and so we stormed the field, and it was great. I mean, we had a great time. So we stormed the field. You know, we were in there with all the college kids. We're like 30 years old or whatever. And we're just laughing. Maybe I was in my late 20s even, but we were having a great time. And but now storming the field has become somewhat dangerous for the opposing team, and even sometimes their own players, because everyone wants to get that social media shot, us harassing a player, all this kind of stuff. And it's become dangerous for the players on the field. Yeah. And as the Gen Zers love to do, take it to a whole nother level. they take those damn goalposts and put them in a river. They put them in a, they do all kinds of crazy stuff with them, which I don't have that big a problem with. That's not, I mean, I think it's crazy, but I don't have a big problem with that. But I have an issue with them attacking players who are just trying to get off the field, who don't know who any of these people are.
Right. That's where it becomes extremely dangerous.
Very dangerous. And you got, 70, maybe not 70,000, but you got 20,000 people storming the field, right? And obviously these kids, half the kids are drunk,
intoxicated off their minds.
Right. You don't know what the situation is. Now, luckily, nothing major has happened yet, but there's been some incidents of it. Yeah. And I think that's another thing in college football that they're going to have to figure out how to address, because the fans don't know how to act when they got on the field. And like I said, when I did it, honestly, like, people were celebrating. The players had a great time. Like, I knew a lot of the players from camps and stuff. And we had a great time. I think I was on the field when Boston College beat Miami. I didn't storm the field, but I was on the field after. Yeah. And I remember a guy that he'd come to a lot of my camps and was from the area I was living in. And he came over, like, gave me a hug. Like, I was just there to, congratulate him. Yeah. Right. So that was like positive experiences with that.
There are positive experiences, without a doubt.
But that's something they also have to now start to get a plan for.
I'm curious about your thoughts on this. So, playing arena football, obviously everybody's right on top of you.
Right?
So, my thought with arena football was that they should make 2 rows in the game to where nobody can sit in. That way you can recognize it, acknowledge it, and take care of it if somebody wants to rush on the field. Because in arena football, it's not people storming the field. Well, they do sometimes after a game, but it's more so of the fans reaching out and that fan experience until a guy got his head split and had like 20-some stitches and just bleeding, or players going into the stands making an unbelievable catch, whether offense or defense, and kicking a kid in the face by accident and breaking his nose on a 4-year-old kid that has no idea, or a baby, for instance. So I also think of it like hockey, where hockey put the nets up for pucks going up into the stands.
Right.
And people getting concussions or almost dying. Or I think there was even
I'm sure someone died.
Where somebody did die. They got hit in the temple drinking a beer, not paying attention or talking to whoever. Didn't see the puck coming, hit them. So I'm wondering if there's a way to put these nets up. They're black nets, and you don't even notice that they're there. And now that will hold. Maybe after the games, you raise them up like they do with, remember how they do with field goals? They raise the net up, and maybe you have these poles now where in the student section or certain areas of the field where you're known to where they do storm the field. Now you put those nets up when it gets close to the end of the game. Now they can't get in. You know what I'm saying?
That's a great point. I'll give you a counter to it.
Sure.
I actually agree with you on that. But I think the reason why they don't do that is, if you remember, it might have been the 80s and 90s, and maybe it still happens now, I don't know. But there was a bunch of incidences in soccer in Europe where they had that because, and remember, people were getting trampled.
Yes.
Yeah, and they get stomped on and people died.
Yes.
So I think that happened because soccer, listen, we think football is crazy.
Right.
You were Europe. You probably went to soccer games. You probably went to games. Did you go to games when you were in Europe?
I did. I went to 2 of them, and it's absurd.
It's absurd. It makes what we have like seem tame, right? Like they're literally fighting in the stands half the time. Like
it's literally a religion, like Catholics versus Protestants. When I was in Scotland, we weren't allowed to. We actually, like, what would be considered our FBI over there. When I was playing for Scotland, the Claymores, we had a briefing. Like when Germany came into town, we weren't allowed to go out. We had to be back in by 8:00. the night before, and we weren't allowed to go out the day of that soccer game because of these Nazi Germans coming in to Scotland. And then when the Catholics played, the Celtics played the Rangers, we weren't allowed to go out and we weren't allowed to talk about religion. Like, it goes back to the 1600s, man, with them.
Crazy.
It truly is a religion, man. And I see what you're saying with that, but I would hope to think that just by putting a net up that we can then lower that in case, because what they did at that time, they had those hockey glass boards up. So you couldn't move those. That's why I was saying put a net up.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. No, I agree with you. Right, a net could
to where you raise it, or you make an announcement.
There has to be a way. Yeah, there has to be like arena football. Although basketball is probably similar in a sense.
Very similar.
They're on the damn court, like.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, the seats are very expensive at the bottom levels, so which is different than arena. It's actually a huge difference because those seats are really, really expensive. And I'm just gonna kind of generalize that if people are spending those kind of monies in general, they don't want to be doing anything overly crazy other than maybe yelling at a player here and there. But but arena, that's not the case. Those seats were probably not that expensive, and you can get anybody down there. You don't know who that guy might take a punch at you when you come over on the against the board.
Absolutely, they do.
Yeah. And I think that's arena like that probably back in the day. They probably liked it because arena was kind of it was real football, but the fan situation was WWE kind of deal. You know what I'm saying?
Well said. Yes. You could get season tickets in the front row in arena probably for like back then when it was at its highest with NBC, ESPN, and all those CBS. It was NBC and ESPN covering us back then. But you could get probably season tickets for a family of 4 for like $1,000 in the front row. You know what I mean? Which is only what, $250 a head, kind of a deal, which is nothing. And yeah, those fans, they're nuts. They're absurd, but they're kind of like the college football fans. I mean, you like you were saying earlier, these college kids, they go there, they get into the whole thing. They're living their lives. We all know, we've been there, living your best life kind of a deal.
Right.
And you don't understand the consequences of your actions until you're sitting there in the hospital, in jail, or getting in trouble for something where you were just trying to have fun. And that's something that's why leaders nowadays, it's so important for leaders in the locker room to police themselves. But also I love
probably harder though than ever.
I love your point of having a GM. I think that's a great idea in overseeing everything. It is a business. It's always been a business. But now players are starting to benefit from it financially, and they also need to understand the consequences. And I just think it's something that needs to be addressed. It's another thing. Everything's continuously, you're either moving forward or you're moving backwards, and we need to move forward with this and be proactive with it. And I think it's a great conversation we're having here today about this.
No, there's no doubt, and I think that coaches, I think, are beginning to my guess is to demand that kind of oversight, right? And I don't know that any head coach wants to have someone over them other than the AD, but it may be for their own good, not meaning them personally, but the program, so they don't have to. Like, I look at it like this: if the GM is not going to be the guy to say, "Oh, I want to fire the guy," it's going to be the AD, right? So the GM is just going to be a part of that process. And it's the same thing in the NFL. Like, I think very few GMs make the final call to fire a head coach because usually they're tied pretty closely together. I think it's really the owner or the CEO of the NFL team that says, "Hey, this guy's not doing the job. We're thinking about firing him. And, it's a collaborative meeting. So I don't think it's like, I don't think it's like done, in a vacuum, as people probably a lot of times think that, oh, the GM fired so it's really the owner that's firing him.
Absolutely.
The GM's there to give him input. Yes. Is the GM, even though he usually brings in the guy he wants as the coach, but is the GM having conversations with the owner that the head coach may not be having? That may be true.
Yes.
But it's more he's carrying out the wishes of the owner than him standing on the table in most cases saying, let's get rid of this guy. I just don't see the GM ever having that much power, in a sense that he's not getting paid more than the head coach.
Right.
Like,
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 at the end of the day, it boils down to this: the actions of one are going to cause consequences for the many. Stupid, ignorant actions in the moment are going to now take away from what the ultimate goal is, and that's to win a national championship or win a game or win the league, and have fun while you're doing it. And that's where
fun's part of
head coaches. It's nonsense. It truly is.
I think that the GM, I think this is me speculating.
Imagine Lou Perkins if remember, like, no way, he would not have.
He would kill guys.
Kidding me?
That wouldn't happen, and I don't think in any era until Baker Mayfield did it.
Yeah.
So and Baker Mayfield would be the guy who I would think would be the innovator in it. One of the best lines ever. Remember when Baker Mayfield got arrested and at University of Oklahoma, he was drunk and I don't remember if they caught him with drinking in public or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Well, the cops, are talking to him. There's a video, you can find it. It's funny.
Yeah.
So he's like, I'm the quarterback, and they're like, and he tries to run. He tries to run from the cops, and they chase him down. And like 2 steps, they chase him down. And the funniest line ever is Barry Switzer said, well, what do you think about Baker Mayfield, quarterback of Oklahoma, like getting arrested? And he said, well, the difference between my quarterbacks and Baker Mayfield is my quarterbacks would not have gotten caught by the police because they would outran them. And that's true, because he had Jamel Holloway, Charles Thompson. Yeah. He had the great fastest guys ever. No one was catching those guys.
No, not at all.
Jamel Holloway still to this day. I mean, there's a lot of great films.
Baker Mayfield, though, I love the guy.
I love Baker Mayfield. I love Baker. I love Baker Mayfield. Yeah. I mean, he's definitely a guy that I would have been good friends with. You know what I mean? Like, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
But it's funny, going back to Barry Switzer. If you ever pull up, it's unbelievable. If you ever pull up Jamel Holloway highlights,
oh gosh, yes,
they're unbelievable. Like, he don't get the credit. He don't get the credit.
Before his time, man.
Yeah, he was before his time. His ability to run that option and his elusiveness, was like nothing. Like, I mean,
well, I think he'll weigh like $170, so nobody better hit him.
No, that's true. He weighed, and they used to run the wishbone. They would be like right into the line, like they would be right in there.
And he would go from a standstill to like a 4.4 in 3 steps.
Craziness. Absolute craziness. I think he got hurt, and then Charles Thompson took his job. That's how many good players he had. Like, dude, Barry Switzer get all of them. But I think it's really interesting. I do think, going back to the GM conversation briefly, the one thing that it will do is, like, I always think this: the GM is really not going to be the one that's going to fire the head coach for losing. The AD is going to do that, and the GM may be carrying it out. But the GM will be the guy if there's a conduct issue or something going on within the program that could cause either the university or the athletic department a problem. That's where he will step in and say, this guy is not the person to run the program anymore. even though he might have been my guy. That's the only time you'll see them. And I think that may be needed in college football, just because you got to pay players. The coaches got to worry about more than ever. And if I was a head coach, even though I don't like people over me, but if I was a head coach, I wouldn't want to worry. I want to win. I want to be able to not get fired because I lose because I can't handle this shit. Let someone handle this shit.
Yeah.
And let me coach. Let me recruit. Let me have a relationship with my players.
It's just another meeting that coaches are going to have in spring ball and during camp. It's just another hour meeting where it takes focus off of winning because some dumbass wants to throw a flag and probably it doesn't even play. You know what I mean? Very rarely is it going to be your Baker Mayfield that does that. You know what I mean? Most of the time it's the number 2 or number 3 guy that's standing by that knows the cheerleading squad dude and says, hey, give me this. We're going to go out after we win, kind of a thing. Exactly what I'm talking about. He's standing there the whole sideline time and not even into the game. Those are, as well as I do, man. Those are the ones that cause these issues. It's not the ones focused on winning, typically. It's the ones that are focused on, oh, yeah, I'm going to be a social media, guy now, and I'm going to get all these likes.
All right.
Dumbasses is what they are.
I'll tell you this. I don't. We there's so much more we probably could talk about that we didn't talk about. But before I let you go, I want to get, and I have to say, it's interesting because on Twitter, really the views are crazy on my Twitter. This is really been a good podcast. A lot of people. I wish Twitter paid me instead of YouTube, man. Jeez. But no, Twitter don't pay nothing. But what was I gonna say? The most important thing, and I was just gonna say it about so who do you think? Let's go through conference games, championships, and I want to get your predictions.
All right, let's go.
So let's get that, and then I'll let you go. It'll be quick. Let's see. We get this here.
Hey, let me do this. Let me. Are you okay if I got to use the bathroom real quick? Can we?
Good. That I? Yeah. God. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, you're looking this up.
Yeah, I'm holding it up right now. Okay. Yeah. I think I got almost. Yep. I think I got it. Okay. So we'll go through the championship games. And perfect. Let me see if I can pull this up here. Let's share this. Share. And boom. Let's see if that shows. I don't know if it shows good enough to see it, but let's see. All right, perfect. All right, well, as soon as Shane gets back, we'll predict it. Hopefully, he's doing number 1 and not number 2 because I'll probably be here forever. Am I frozen now? What the heck? Let's see if I'm frozen. Am I frozen? Oh, my God. Hold on a second. You're not going to believe it, but I'm actually frozen, too.
Are you really?
Yeah.
I'm not. So
we're going to go fast, so I'm not even going to bother. All right, here we go. All right, you can see this, right? Can you see the first one?
Let me see if
I can expand this screen here. Yeah. Does this make it bigger for you?
That's what she said.
No.
I see. Yeah, I can see ACC. You're talking about.
All right, I'll just read it. I'll read it. All right. ACC championship, SMU versus Clemson. SMU is favored by 2.5.
Yep. Honestly, don't know much about SMU. I know Clemson. Yeah, they always do, right? I'm going to take SMU on that one, and I think they'll win that thing by a touchdown there.
Yeah, I
I
agree
think
with
he's
you.
good enough to beat Clemson. Is not as good defensively as they used to be, and they do have fast dudes as well. But I just think SMU win that one out.
SMU, it's good. They're always the best team that money can buy. So,
Yeah. Hey, I see what you're doing there. I'm smelling what you're stepping in.
listen, let me tell you this. Like SMU,
Yeah.
man, my favorite.
The
You know my
pony,
favorite 30
what
for
they
30,
call the Pony Express.
my favorite 30 for 30 by far.
Hell yeah.
The Pony Express. I was like, damn, man.
Yeah.
If I was a fullback on that, I might have got like three grand a month. You know what I mean? Damn Pony Express. Oh, they wouldn't have recruited me because they had Eric Dickerson and Craig James. But
Yeah, you would have. I think you would have been as good as Craig James, if not better.
oh, come on, I was good
Come
Craig
on.
James. That's bullshit. That Craig James was supposed to be so good.
Seriously. I mean, he's lame. His kid, for crying out loud, complained that. Sorry, Craig James. Your kid is complaining that the coach yelled at him too much.
Mike Leach was mean to him. Mike Leach.
Yeah, he was mean. Daddy, he's mean to me. Come on, Craig. Come on, Craig.
Listen, I mean, have Nick Rapone yell at you. Look at
Yeah.
And look at you.
What about the
one eye's looking at you and the other one's looking at Rick.
Hey, what about my freshman year though? The Williams.
Oh, Greg Williams. Oh God.
Oh, imagine him. Oh my God, that dude was a beast. All right, so Big Ten.
Big Ten. Okay, Big Ten. Oregon, Penn State.
Yeah.
Oregon by 3.5 is the line.
This is an interesting one here. I think Penn State's on the rise. I think Oregon, their schedule wasn't that difficult after, that week 1 victory. I mean, yes, they played in the Big Ten, but I don't know. I think Penn State's gotten better. I got to go with my home state, man. I'm going Penn State.
I figured you would
yeah.
Go with that. Let me just look at Oregon's victories.
Oregon, and then the other thing too, Oregon in big games. I'm sorry, their history in big games. Now I just jinxed it, and they're going to beat Penn State, but I'm still going Penn State.
Their coach he's good, Danny Lanning.
He is good.
He's good. He's good. He's one of my favorite coaches, even though we don't get to see it. They beat Boise 37-34.
Right.
They didn't. They beat Ohio State. They beat Ohio State.
Yeah, the very first game of the season.
No,
they beat them by 1. They beat Wisconsin by 3, I think, or something, 34-31.
You might be onto something.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go with Oregon. I just I still even though now Chip Kelly's with the enemy Ohio State, I still like the glory days of the Chip Kelly inspired me with that run game out of a gun. Okay, let's see. Big 12. Okay, Arizona State, Iowa State. That's another good game.
Yeah, this one.
Arizona State.
To me, this is like a pick 'em. I don't know enough about Arizona State, so I'm going to go with Iowa State. I think their run game and defense is going to – I think they'll win that game.
I'm going to go Arizona State. I like their running back, Cam Scatabo.
You're a big running back guy. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. I like the way that kid runs the ball. I see a lot of me if I was given a shot. Okay.
Yes. I respect that.
Yeah. I was hated on. Okay, here we go. Let's see. I was like, Tom Jackson, you see my high school film? Come on, man. Let me line up a tailback.
Give me the rock.
I mean, I did average 6 yards a carry as a redshirt freshman that barely got the ball. Barely. When I mean barely, I mean barely.
Yeah.
I had 30 carries all year. In high school, I used to carry that in one game. All right, SEC championship. Let's see. Okay, Texas, Georgia.
Yeah.
2.5.
I'm going to Georgia, man. I just until you beat the team that is That's kind of like going against Alabama, a few years ago. Like, I just believe in what Georgia's doing, and I think they'll find a way to win that game. And it's in Atlanta. It's a home game for
That
Georgia.
is a home game for them.
Yeah.
That's a great point, actually. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. And it's, it's a pick 'em game, basically, field goal.
I will go with Texas, and I'll give you my reason why. I watched the whole entire Georgia Tech game, which lasted almost 5 hours.
Yeah.
I watched the whole game, and I came away with one thing.
Ooh, you made a good point right there, though.
There's one thing I came away with. I didn't think Georgia had a lot of playmakers, which is now the quarterback is considered a playmaker for them, but I did not come away with it wasn't the Georgia guys that I was used to. Now the running back's a freshman. He actually played great in that game last game, so maybe he's going to just get better and better.
I think you're onto something there, though.
That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Texas has got
the quarterback from Georgia. He's going to need the ball out. Like he was one of the Heisman hopefuls early on, and then he kind of teetered off. You make some great points there. Texas is solid. Don't get me wrong.
They got a great quarterback. Two great quarterbacks, actually.
I got to go with Georgia, man. I just think. Not that Texas doesn't have athletes, but Georgia, I'm going with them.
Okay. The AAC, which I think UConn used to be a part of, but
they did.
We're now independent, which is just genius. Let's see. The AAC is Army 10-1, only lost to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Versus Tulane 9-3 at West Point. I would like to go to that game.
How does that happen?
It's at West Point. I did not know that before. Man, are there tickets to that game?
I was going to say, what day is that?
I don't know, but that would be.
Do we have any connects? Because I might make it up.
I do know a coach, but they're not giving you tickets to that. Let me see.
I'm definitely going Army there. I'm sorry.
I'm going to go Army. Tulane, by the way, has been very good. Sure. I haven't watched the game, but I've seen some of the teams they beat. They've had some good wins. No, obviously, Army could not handle Notre Dame. Is just a different level.
Absolutely.
You're talking. They got some paid players versus a team that has guys that are going to go fight wars after. Literally going to go fight wars.
Right. They have a little higher priorities in winning a football game.
My rebut to you of Army would be this.
Talk to me.
On the flag thing. Army versus Navy, would either Army or Navy ever plant a flag and show up another armed force because they obviously have respect for each other, even though they hate. I think that would be grounds to get you kicked out.
You took the words right out of my mouth when you said respect for each other.
Yes.
They understand the higher they just understand that there's a higher meaning in life than just a football game.
I'm trying to see if there's
discipline.
I agree with you 100%. And I'm just trying to see if I can get myself some tickets. I'm just curious. I don't know if I could even get there because I probably have some kids' sports that I have to do. But
hey, do me a favor. Well, no, you can't.
No, I can't find it. All right. Anyway, all right. Let's move through this so I don't keep going. Conference USA Championship. I didn't even know that was a conference still. But Jacksonville State versus Western Kentucky. I know diddly about either one of them, but it's in Jacksonville, Alabama, which my guess is where Jacksonville State is based. So what do you think?
Yeah. Jacksonville State 8-4. Whatever that. It's definitely a pick'em game for us. I don't know. I'm gonna go Western Kentucky because they've been competitive in years past. No, I lie. Yes, I'm going Western.
No, they've been good. They always have that good passing game. I'm gonna go Jack State because I believe that Alabama athletes are better than Kentucky athletes. Okay.
Oh, look at you. I don't like you anymore.
Okay. Even though Kentucky, although it's probably close, I was going to say
Yeah,
Kentucky women might be better looking than Alabama women, but
I
I don't
don't know
know.
about that one.
Yeah, no, I don't know
That.
about that because I've watched I've watched those sorority videos when the school year starts, and Alabama's got some good ones. Okay,
Yeah.
but I will, and I don't know why I'm saying this because this could probably get me in trouble. But of the ones that have come to my feed, I didn't solicit it; just came to my feed.
Yeah,
Uh,
I
um,
love the asterisk.
uh, I'm trying to think of the college. This is the college that has the best videos by far, and I can tell you number one and number two. Number one, Arizona State. Those girls, I think they're cheerleaders because
Dude,
they are doing like flips and they look like even though they're 22, they look like they're like
Arizona is a different level, man. Arizona State, all those schools in Arizona,
almost.
different breed, man.
What is it? It's something about the desert, I guess. I don't
I
know.
might go fly out there just for and hang out for 9 months.
Arizona is a great place. I haven't been there in a long time.
It is beautiful. Not only are the women, I'm sorry. Not only is the atmosphere amazing, yes, it's hot. It's really hot,
Very
but
hot.
so are the women.
Very. I've only been there. I've been there actually a good amount, but it's pretty interesting place. A
Everything
lot
out
of,
there is
by the
gorgeous.
way, people Arizona because people think of like Arizona being near like California, where California people don't carry guns.
Yes.
Arizona people carry guns because
Oh,
it's more, I think
absolutely.
it's a conservative state, but it's but man, that was a fun place. I remember that being I've been on Arizona State's campus. I don't remember a lot, but I remember it being fun. Um, that's enough for me. Uh, although Tallahassee was pretty damn good. Okay, we'll move on from there.
Moving on.
Mid American
Moving
Championship.
on. He
Eh,
said,
That must be I just had thought entered my head that Florida State must be a depressing place to be right now.
"You're crazy,
Mid
bro."
Mid American Championship, the MAC,
Yeah, the Mac.
Ohio versus Miami of Ohio in Detroit. That sounds like a fun game. Miami, Ohio favored by 2.5. Another pick 'em, I guess, basically.
Yeah, I'm going Miami, Ohio on that one. I just think they're a better squad. They beat them earlier. Let's
Yeah,
go.
they did. All right, I'll go with you on that one. Okay. Ohio has won. All right, so Red Hawks beating them. Ohio won 7 of the last 8. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, AP, for that. All right, Mountain West Championship.
I know who you're going with here.
Yes, but well, it's in Boise, so that definitely gives them an advantage. Boise State versus
Yes.
UNLV, and obviously I'm a running back guy, so I love Ashton Ginty. So
Yes.
I'll go
Dude,
first.
I'm gonna give you
Yeah.
Dave, you've been on him since week 1.
Yep.
And I got to give you credit for that one. And you said how great he was from week 1, and you never stopped talking about it. I'm going with you. I think Boise State wins that one, hands down. Like I think that one is going to be. I think it's going to be like a 10-point victory or something like that.
I agree. I am impressed with UNLV,
Yeah.
and amidst all the controversy, they just moved on and kept playing. And 10-2, that will be a fun campus postseason. I'm assuming actually it's probably been a fun campus for those guys all season long.
You talking about UNLV?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It can't be bad.
It can't be bad. Cannot be bad. You've been to Las Vegas a few times, right?
Yeah, once or thrice.
We've been there a few times. I saw I one time I purposely went by UNLV. I don't remember who I was with because I
Yeah.
wanted to see it. There
Sure.
wasn't that much there. I was
No,
shocked.
they keep them away. They try and keep them. That would be my only thing about the Boise State Broncos is if the coaches don't have their team tamed, those Broncos corralled. That would be my only concern.
Yes.
But it's
Well,
not
no,
Boise.
it's in
I don't-
Boise. No, it's in Boise.
I'm
It's in
sorry.
Boise.
We're talking about UNLV at UNLV and stuff like that. I'm sorry. It's at Boise. I'm taking Boise. I think that has a chance to be like possibly a 3-score game.
Yeah, especially if Jinty gets rolling. Okay.
Jeez, yeah. Good luck getting the ball
This
back.
is another one I don't really know much about. Sun Belt Championship, Louisiana Lafayette versus Marshall. Marshall did beat JMU.
Yeah.
So that is because JMU was rolling for the last 2 years. So, but Louisiana Lafayette is favored by 3.5.
Yeah. I want to go with my heart with Marshall. We are Marshall. We are Marshall.
Yes.
Being in that movie.
Yes. Yes, you were.
But I'm gonna and you actually knew
you played Teddy Shoebridge.
Yeah, Shoebridge. And you're the one that scooped me to the game on that with that. But
I know his brother.
I'm gonna go Louisiana Lafayette there.
All right. I think I'm gonna go with you. I'll go with Louisiana Lafayette just because I know absolutely nothing, and you can't even see my face move, so that must make it really exciting.
He said I can't see my face.
I mean, it's like I'm here, but I'm really not here.
Yeah, I just think like going back to your one example where Kentucky and versus whatever, certain. I think Louisiana has a lot better athletes than West Virginia.
I agree with that. It's just Marshall is good at one thing, even though I'm going with Louisiana Lafayette too. Marshall has somehow always been really good at getting the player that either didn't have the good grades or they always did do a great job of that and getting them in the right direction. And maybe that's because Huntington, West Virginia, there might not be much to do. I don't know. But I don't know. But yeah, I agree with you. All right, so we got that. Really, really good, good pod. We'll find out who was right and who was wrong on that next week. I don't even remember who I picked. So hopefully,
I have SMU, Penn State, Western Kentucky, Ugas, Army, Miami, Ohio, Boise, Louisiana Lafayette. I'm trying to think if I missed one.
I really would like to go to the Army game, man. I really would. That would be, I mean, to me, that would be just fun, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, Army is like them being in the championship like that. I bet you, I bet you're gonna have the generals there and everything.
Hey, and by the way, I don't think you ever want to start a fight with Army.
No, you're losing that fight.
If they plant a flag on your field, let them plant it.
Leave. Just let them plant it.
Just go home. Understand that you lost the battle and the war, and you're done.
You have no idea what maneuvers they might know.
Right.
Like those guys aren't just practicing football. They're they got wrestling class in the morning and
life survival skills, and they have probably little knives in their shoulder pads too, just in case war breaks out.
How to rear naked choke somebody?
Yeah, because you never know. Like somebody might, and actually, we shouldn't joke about this one.
They might just choke you. They would just choke you out, and you wouldn't even know what happened. You'd be like, yeah, I got my flag planted, and the next thing you know, you're sleeping on the ground like this. Oh yes, officer.
Yeah, right.
Give me 50.
As you're living over there in Guantanamo Bay.
No, wait a minute. I'm a prisoner of war. How did that happen? You declared war on us. Oh, man. But no, that would be cool to go to again. There are tickets available.
What day is that one?
It is December 6th.
Oh, shit. That's right around the corner. Yeah, I can't make that. Is that Friday?
Friday. The game is at what time?
Is it Friday?
It's 6 p.m. It's at Mikey Stadium.
Hold on. Is that it is? Oh, I'm off on Friday, actually.
Man. I don't know. How far do I live from there? I don't know how far I live.
Yeah, that might be too far.
You might live very far. I'm not sure. But
I won't be able to make that one.
West Point from Lincroft direction.
I would love to make that. We go together and just kind of hang out. That would be awesome. But yeah.
It's an hour and 46 for me.
Yeah, that's probably means it's like 3 something.
What town are you in, or near, or whatever?
I'm in just Rehoboth.
Rehoboth.
It's probably the easiest one.
We wouldn't want to give away Shane's exact location just per chance, you know.
Yeah. All the hatred I spew.
Wow, you're 4 hours and 35 minutes.
Yeah, no, that's not happening.
That is a hike.
Yeah. No, the only time I would go that far is to go up to Yukon, and that's another 2 more hours, I think.
That would yeah, maybe only another hour.
Yeah, it may be another hour, yeah.
Have you ever been to a game at West Point?
No, but I can only imagine how awesome that would be.
I've been there once. One of my players, was it once or twice? I maybe went twice. One of my players that I coached played at West Point and went to watch a game, and it was cool, dude. It was cool.
Like, by the way, the still shot of you is awesome. At least it's not a goofy one where like you're half blinking. Like it looks like Dave Schuman, like serious.
Yeah, my face is fat now, but
both of ours. We're all fat now.
I'm trying to get down there. All right. Well, listen. There are actually. It's interesting. There's plenty of seats available, which maybe makes me think: who are they playing again? Tulane. Maybe Tulane isn't traveling. Maybe very well for that. Probably not. Or maybe the seats that are available are on the away side. No. Yeah. Actually, the visitor side, there are no tickets available. So
yeah, that's what they say.
The home side.
Dude, that's what they
probably
say.
Don't draw that many. Dude, I love it. I might go to that game. I don't know. I'm thinking about it.
Man, I'm jealous of you because I would love to go. I'm off Friday, so I could actually make that. But
maybe I take Troy out of school. Or, do I have any basketball practice? I don't think we have basketball practice or anything. I don't think we got nothing on Friday.
Nice.
All right, man. Well, this was a great pod as always. I mean, our pods are sick. Like
they are great.
If you don't listen to College Football Friendzy, you're missing out on the best there is in college football. And what's cool is I'm talking without moving my lips. Shane obviously is able to do it. Yeah, not many people can pull off that trick. I can. Yes. Well, anyway, we'll get going. We'll talk to you soon. Until next week.